So working with athletes provides many different challenges, and we're going to talk about fashion, which is one of the main talking points around such things as a press conference. Around all the major tournaments, everyone likes to make a statement, and of course we are joined here by Percy Knox, and of course Sammy Jenks and Jack Slade's joining us here. Yeah. So we're going to talk about this instance and some of the obstacles that you have to overcome in terms of athletes. So working with athletes has plenty of challenges. We touched on this before in the previous clip when you talked about having to incorporate their own style with what you guys think will work. So I want to know straight away, deep into it, what is the biggest challenge that you guys have faced so far with some of your notable clients? You don't have to drop names. You don't have to be like, Dwight Howard's really hard to work with, but like, what is one of the hardest obstacles you'd have to overcome?
That's a really tough question.
I know, that's why I said it.
We are experts in the field of athletes. This is what we do and do best. But I mean, I guess it really is kind of just keeping them streamlined, keeping their personal style on the straight and narrow to where they're not kind of all over the place, but really helping them to define it.
Yeah, I think also too, you know, when you're looking at the stories that are coming out with these different athletes, we have to then try to help kind of navigate the way they look to match with what's actually happening, whether we're trying to help dispel something that maybe is negative, or, you know, again, trying to promote something that's positive. So that's a part of the process in trying to understand and lay out for them what they need to wear.
Okay, I'm just gonna go because I'm a small person. I'm 5'11", but these guys are like 7 feet tall. Like, what's the challenge with like sizing those guys? Because I know like a lot of times I'll see something and it doesn't necessarily, it looks better smaller than it does look bigger. So how do you guys deal with those sort of challenges?
Well, our garments are handmade, hand cut, for each individual clientele. And the way we do it is as such that it literally fits you like a glove. I mean, if you have problem areas maybe with thighs, we do see a lot of bigger thighs, and the pants these days are very slim. And you see a big calf sometimes, but the bottom of the pants also very slim. So it's all about measurements and proportion and cut and tailoring. And so when we are dealt with a challenge, we kind of just use our expertise to make it comfortable, because comfort's important.
Absolutely. Plus, too, you know, we've been in business for over 15 years. So we've gone through our own series of mistakes, you know, and maybe again trying to push the line with certain types of fabrics, certain patterns. And so I think over that time we've all become pretty good experts at kind of understanding what is going to be appropriate for someone to wear based on their size.
I think you guys could make a very entertaining commercial of you fitting the NBA players and maybe standing on a stepladder trying to get Dwight Howard from head to toe.
Yeah, and that's happened before.
Yes.
So to transition over to a different sport, we are currently just leading up to the Masters in golf right now. So I know you guys have outfitted athletes in the President's Cup, correct? As well as many other PGA pros. Golf is a challenging aspect, right? Because it seems like you have to fit in to what the type of outfits you should be wearing, because we were talking about it before. There's certain things you cannot wear on a golf course. I know that I've been many times back in Scotland where the home of golf, I've actually worn like t-shirts just because I was casually wearing it. And even on private or even public golf courses, it's somewhat of a code. You're like, no, you need to wear a collared shirt when you're on the golf course. How does that come into play when you're fitting these athletes?
Well, I think it actually makes it kind of easy because you know, those mandates are out of our control. So, you know, when guys are playing, they have to play in a collared, typically polo. So then it's just our job to try and match up the right polos with the right pairs of pants. I think a lot of PGA players that work with us, the reason why they enjoy it so much is because of the types of fabrics that we are able to offer to them. That give them the room that they need when they're, you know, trying to bend over or they're analyzing a putt. It keeps them in a situation where they're not very restricted. So that's something that I think has been very popular in terms of PGA players working with us.
I know a big thing with the newer generation is kind of going away from some of those traditional norms. So, I mean, obviously golf, you kind of have to follow those rules. Do you have a lot of guys that kind of push you and say, hey, I don't necessarily want to wear a tie, I don't want to wear a collared shirt, but I still want to look nice? How do you guys kind of deal with those situations?
That is very typical. I mean, I can't imagine wearing a tie all day. It's very comfortable. Obviously, if your shirt fits perfectly, it's more comfortable. But we have a lot of tie alternatives that we've been doing with just to kind of deal with that. You're going to see a lot of like mandarin collars that look fantastic with a nice blazer or suit. or a lifestyle piece. Also, you can do like very cool, jewelry, collar chains, lapel, yes, all like a collar chain on your shirt, which is a fantastic and beautiful way to kind of like, bring some style, but take that tie away and just have a different accessory.
Yeah, and I think there's also some things that we're doing with the collar too. We're adjusting some of those looks, going back to like some of the Mandarin style collars, as well as then shorter collars. Again, gentlemen like yourself are buttoning it up all the way to the top.
Thank you for using me as an example. And I am finished for today. So, all right. So I had this question. It wasn't planned before, but when you see someone like John Daly, like I mentioned, who's wearing SpongeBob pants on the golf course. Is that going to throw you off when you go in? Because I know you don't exactly dress John Daly. I imagine John Daly dresses himself and just thinks, I'm going to wear SpongeBob pants because I'm John Daly and I can do what I want. But when someone comes into the office like that, how do you try and work around that? Because that's obviously going to be hilarious, but you can still make it stylish.
Well, I think, again, it comes back to personality. See, John Daly has that personality, so when people see him, you're not like repulsed by it. You kind of think, okay, this is par for the course with him. So again, I think a lot of what we do as a company is based around that person's aura, that person's the way that they present themselves allows us to then give them a platform in which to really enhance that.
Yeah. And a way to end this clip, we're going to bring up something that's just so familiar to Jack here, sneaker game. So everyone loves to wear sneakers these days. I actually have this theory that the sneaker game originated from New York, because I went to New York and I seen all these business guys running around trying to catch the subway, and they usually would pull their sneakers out their bag and put them on to catch the train. But then one day probably somebody turned around and went, wait, that looks actually really good. You don't have to change back into your tip shoes or anything like that. So that's my theory for it. But everyone seems to be wearing them. I love to wear sneakers now and again to mix up my outfit. How do you incorporate sneakers into such an outfit which is so tailored, so old-fashioned? How do you incorporate this new wave into it?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that. We just did a fashion show called Suits and Sneakers at the Super Bowl. Wow. And we did a great incorporation of suits with sneakers, as well as then even activewear with sneakers, and just kind of giving that whole layout of how you can incorporate those styles. So we used Nike, we used Onitsuka Tiger, we used Y3 and some superstars. We also used Great brand as well, and so we incorporated those shoes. And what's nice about some of those types of shoes is that you really want to have a more low profile kind of form, because if you get the thicker types of sneakers, it becomes a little bit more difficult, especially if you're wearing something that's tailored. So it's easy to ebb and flow through that, and the way that sneakers are being made nowadays, you can really incorporate those in and you wouldn't even notice. Really.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a bunch. I think my girlfriend's starting to go a little crazy because they're overwhelming in my code. But another point I was going to bring up is that with the sneakers and now these nice dress shoes, they're combining both of them. You're getting shoes with like wingtip style with a sneaker bottom on them, and they're awesome. I love them.
It's funny. That's actually what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a Y3.
If you can stretch your leg out like this and get them right up, that would be awesome.
You can see this.
Look at that. Yeah, exactly. The sneaker style.
So
we'll get it on. Awesome.
I had a client too who was extremely wanting to wear sneakers but look really tailored. Karan Butler. Yes. And he's been dressing well for many years. And so I designed a jogger style suit pant for him.
Wow.
We carry cashmere Italian knits that are fantastic. I started with the houndstooth print, so it was a very traditional print with a jogger. It's kind of a slim jogger pant, and he wore his sneakers. It looked great.
You wore that like with a blazer and
it was a suit.
Awesome.
It was a suit.
I love it.
I
love it. I'm sold.
Exactly. So everyone around the TYT office is like, Francis, you run sneakers with those shoes? Watch this clip. Fashion is coming forward. Well, guys, as always, thank you so much for joining us. And thanks, congratulations for all the success. You guys are awesome. So elevee.com, make sure to check it out. Custom and lifestyle clothing. And from everyone here, TYT Sports and the postgame, this is a rundown. Make sure to check out the postgame, postgame.com, youtube.com/postgame, and come back for more.